Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour. I'm Rick Schisler. I'm your host. I'm also a Silver Fox advisor and the founder of OneBestConsult.com. Well, let's begin today's show with a big thank you to our audience. Thank you for taking time to listen to today's program, or perhaps listen to the podcast, video cast that'll be available in a couple, 3 days after this primary broadcast. We're broadcasting today, as we usually do, from the studios of Lone Star Community Radio, which is located in downtown Conroe, Texas, first floor of City Hall. Lone Star Community Radio, I have people all the time ask me, what is Lone Star Community Radio? Well, it's what it says it is. It's community radio. And that's an important part, in my opinion, in the communication here in Montgomery, Texas, Montgomery County, Texas, is Lone Star Community. All aspects, all people from all over the community, whether it be businesses, as our program is today, or institutions such as schools or individuals, they have an opportunity to be involved and connected and volunteer to be part of Lone Star Community Radio. And I do encourage you, two things. One is volunteer, and a lot of volunteers have their own show, and it doesn't cost you anything. This is a nonprofit, but that leads into the second thing. If you would open your hearts and open your wallets and perhaps make a donation, again, it's a nonprofit serving the community. So think about that. You can go to the website at irlonestar.com. That's irlonestar.com. And there's an easy way there to donate to Lone Star Community Radio. And if you're interested in doing a show, you got an idea about something you'd like to put together, then reach out. Again, on the website, it has contact information, and talk to our general manager, Dick Schisler. Ladies and gentlemen, what do we got? We got a thought for the day. We've been talking, the last 5-6 weeks about Washington, i.e. the federal government, and its impact on small business. And most recently, we've talked a lot about tariffs and what a business owner should do in light of the coming tariffs. Well, now the tariffs in some cases have come. Some are still coming, and some people are being impacted. Unfortunately, I find the media finds one individual or one company is impacted, and they present it as it's everybody, at least in that class or industry. It's just amazing to me. So we still don't know the impact of the tariffs, and I still believe it's important for every business, small and large, to be aware and dig into a little bit. And you're in a small business, you don't have the staff, but you have associations. And I hope that you're a member of at least one association, whether it be a local chamber of commerce or a industry-specific association at the local, state, or even national level. These resources are there, and they should have information that you can receive, that you can go through and form your own opinion and project in your business the impact of the tariffs. Let's call them the ongoing tariffs, because they go on and on and on. And I really can't keep track of when they're going into effect and not effect and delayed and da-da. That's what we got. It sounds like it is a big mess. But keep your eyes open, keep your ears to the ground, and be aware, because the impact in some areas obviously is going to be tremendous. In other areas, a little bit of nothing at all. I want to remind everybody who's listening today that you can watch as well as listen to the show. We're being broadcast live on YouTube. Simply go to YouTube, look up the page for the weekly business hour, and there's a button there, and you click on it, and you can watch the video as well as listen to the conversation. So if you're like me, you're a visual person, it helps to have a picture with it. So encourage you to do that. Also, finally, I encourage you, as everyone who knows me, everyone who's met me and talked about business, I encourage you to reach out and contact me. Email me. It's real simple here at the station, Rick, R-I-C-K, at irlonestar.com. That's Rick at irlonestar.com. And what I love to see is if you've got a question, a thought, if you've got a constructive criticism about the show, anything. But the most important thing is to hear from you about your business. And again, if you have a question, if you're a regular listener to the program, you know about our mailbag program that we go on from time to time, and we respond to your question about your business on the air. Otherwise, you get a written response from me. I know that's a disappointment. You don't get a chance to be famous over the radio waves, but the point is that we connect. We're a community here, just like the station. So I encourage you, reach out, Rick at irlonestar.com. Well, now we get down to the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts, and that's our guest. And today, I'm very, very pleased to welcome Tami Schurch, small business owner, got all the same challenges you do, but she represents a product called Thrive. And I'm intrigued. I'll be frank with you. I'm really intrigued about Thrive because it's an interesting kind of an all-encompassing, I don't know what the right words are. Tami, what would you call it?
Digital marketing and small business software platform.
Yeah, I mean, it does more than marketing. I know that's everybody likes that up front, but when you start digging into it, the calendar, I mean, it just unifies the day-to-day operation and the long-term part of a business. And it's very interesting to me. I'm sure there's other products that do similar things, but I've never really had the opportunity to look at them and go through them. So this is really interesting. Oh, by the way, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to share this information with the community today.
Well, I think you've got something here. I can't advertise or promote the product, but the concept is absolutely very interesting because I think it has potential to be very helpful to many small businesses. Well, let's talk about, you're in business for yourself, just like everyone or most of the folks listening to this program. What has been the key to your success?
So I'm actually a business advisor for Thrive. And I would say the key to my success would be the motivation to help small business owners succeed.
And that motivation, meaning that you help them succeed, so that's a win for the home team.
Absolutely, absolutely. And coming from being a small business owner myself years ago, I understand their daily challenges. And so to help them overcome them and to be a successful small business owner is where it's at for me.
Well, that's great. Why did you choose to be a solo small business or entrepreneur? They have very fancy names for it.
Yeah.
You're in business for yourself.
Again, I'm actually a business advisor for Thrive.
Okay.
Thrive is a very large company. We're publicly traded. We actually go all the way back to Yellow Pages. We are the real Yellow Pages. We still deliver the Yellow Pages to a particular group of people. So we've, been in business for over 100 years, helping small businesses succeed.
So are you an employee or are you an independent contractor?
I'm an employee.
Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was an employee-employer relationship.
Yep.
Well, that's interesting.
Yep.
So obviously you're part of the company. You have hopefully all the support you need and the constant availability of things if you have a question or one of your clients has a question. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. We're really big on support. This is going on almost 27 years for me. So I've made it a lifetime career, and I just really enjoy helping small businesses.
That's interesting. How do you get your leads? for sales?
There's so many ways. I network a lot. I'm in the Greater Tomball Area Chamber of Commerce. I also go to the Houston Northwest Chamber of Commerce meetings often. I'm in Alignable networking group. So I network as much as I can. We also have incoming leads. People go to the site and they fill out the information so that we can contact them. And then, of course, I'm out there just looking around, trying to find who it is that needs help. And that's probably the biggest challenge.
It's just being out there finding who needs help. Who needs help?
Finding the right people.
What indications are there or measures that would tell you I need help?
A small business that doesn't have a website, doesn't have a Google business profile. Their online listings are not, some of them don't even exist. And some that do are very inconsistent. So these are things, that are very important to Google's algorithm in ranking you. So just like we came from Yellow Pages where, that was basically the first Google, it's the same concept with Google. You have to prove or show that you are a legitimate business in order to gain the public's trust.
Now, does your product focus on Google, or is that just one of many areas in the digital world that you focus?
So it's one of many areas that we focus on, both Google, or I should say not just both, but Google, Bing, Yahoo. We partner with Yelp. I mean, we are a full service digital marketing company and software.
What my understanding is, at least for the last several months, maybe longer, that there's some turmoil, call it Google world or whatever, that Google has become less of a need. Not that you shouldn't be on Google, small business owner, but there's been some shifts in the marketplace, which are pretty dramatic. How are y'all dealing with that?
Well, we're always on the cutting edge of technology. So we do know that AI is playing a big part of how people are being found today. And we're right in there working with AI as well to make sure that people can be found when they're being searched by AI. So, the algorithm's constantly changing, and we're always right there changing with it.
Yeah, well, that algorithm's been a challenge since the day one. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some shifts taking place, at least from my perspective. I'm not sure exactly what, because I'm not the technical side of the digital, but some shifts are happening. In fact, I was in a conversation just recently, and someone was putting together a business plan, which I was glad to see. I'm a real proponent to get that done first before you jump in. And if nothing else, it's a point of conversation. And that's what we were doing. We were talking about it. And as far as digital marketing was, that it was their contention and recommendations that they got from several people due to the type of business they were proposing to enter into. They didn't need a website. They were going to use Facebook. And it was more than just using Facebook, and it spread. And when they got through explaining to me their rationale and what they had learned, my ears were still open, because I said, well, gosh, I don't know how many types of businesses this would apply to, but in this case, it made a lot of sense. The website just wouldn't be that beneficial.
What type of business was it?
It's like a service business, but it's remote. In other words, you don't go on site to provide the service.
Okay.
So it was interesting conversation, and I just sort of took it, I guess, with a grain of salt, like I do a lot of things, but not really that big of a grain of salt, because again, this had been well thought out and reasoned. And I haven't talked to any of my digital marketing friends that are in that industry like yourself to see what they'd say. But I sort of thought it, or felt it was part of that shift that's taking place with AI, and where potentially that'll head?
What I would say to that is that having a website is very important for all businesses because it is your storefront online. And without it, it's like having a billboard out in the middle of a desert with no road to it. If they can't find any information about you, then they're going to go somewhere else. And that's usually what happens. There are 6 major things that are very important for a small business to be successful in 2025. And those are to have a Google business profile that's verified, claimed, and optimized. It's to have a good website, a solid review plan, making sure that you're getting good reviews because those play such a major part in people's decision making today. And having a consistent social media posting plan. And then, of course, having a CRM to manage your client base is very, very important to be able to nurture. And so the last thing I would say is very important is having your online listings, a good online listing management platform or program, because it is very important to make sure that you are out there everywhere you need to be. And there's a lot of different sites and search engines that report back to Google. So very important to be on all of them and to be very consistent. Very, very, very important. I can't say this enough, that your information is the same everywhere. Name, address, phone number.
Right.
The inconsistencies cause conflict with the algorithms of the search engines.
Right.
So these are the things that are going to help you to rank where everybody's looking today. I don't really know that Google will ever not be a good plan. I believe that Google's king now, and I don't think that that's going to change. So it is going to be important to make sure that you're doing the things that make the algorithm happy.
So you think we're going to continue to Google?
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this, and again, it's just an intriguing area. I guess it's a personal thing with me. You had that list, which was very complete, of the things a small business needs to have.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that will change in 2026, 2027, or something added, something drop away?
I believe that those are the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't lay your digital footprint, it's like building a house. If you don't have your foundation, which is your digital footprint, making sure that people can find you, then you can't be chosen. And today, that's what it's all about. 50% being found and 50% being chosen. We can make it very easy for you to be found. And those things I just spoke about, having that solid review plan, the posting plan on social media, the online listing management, the website, and the Google business profile are the things that are going to help you to be chosen.
Well, let me ask you this question, because this is something I'm also hearing. I mean, the AI is the new shiny penny. I mean, it's just,
it is.
It's out there. I will tell anybody who asks me, I don't fully understand it. There's a lot written, and I try to read some of it. No way you could read all of it 24/7. But to understand it as a concept and as a benefit or perhaps a negative to business, which is what I would be focusing and looking for. Let me ask you this. What impact does it have? Because I've had people, I've been to lectures, not seminars, but it was a lecture about, using AI in small business, practical uses. I turned to AI kind of like Alexa. I mean, I watched it get demonstrated and say, find me a vendor for pencils. And it turns or whatever and spits out a list. Now, it is, in that case, has it replaced Google?
No, what you'll find is that when people are searching on Google, oftentimes now, before the actual ads and listings come up in the organic section, you'll see that AI has brought back what it sees as the most valuable answer to that search query, right? So it's very important to make sure that you're doing things as a business owner to make sure that you are coming up when that search is done and AI comes back with those answers, right? Which means that when you do search engine optimization, you want to make sure you're working with a company that is helping you to show up in an AI search as well.
Now, is that search, and I don't want to get too technical, but as a business owner, do I go through the same, well, the 8 steps you mentioned, is that the same for AI? In other words, I go through them to maximize my efficiency and whatnot with Google. At the same time, is that impacting AI when people use it to do a search?
It's helping, and really more so with like search engine optimization with your website and reviews. Very important when you're responding to a review as a business owner that you respond in a manner that you're using keywords from the services that you provided or products that you provided in that response, because that's what's helping bring you up with AI as well.
You know, one of the things, and I'll get off this, but I guess I'm kind of intrigued is what it is. Curious, but I don't want to be what curiosity killed the cat. I don't think I'll get there at least on this issue, but I'm curious. There are a number of different products available to access AI. And I would assume that their algorithms, they have different code. So they're different. So that means what I need to do to be optimized on, say, ChatGPT or, you got
Gemini.
Yeah. I mean, there are multiple hundreds probably. That unlike Google, which is one target, I've got hundreds of targets, or at least 5 or 6 that are primary. What do I do?
Well, the things that you need to do are going to remain steady and the same. It's just that those different AI, what would I call it? AI tools are for different, like Gemini is what Google. So there's, and they all have different ones. So, but the concept is the same. The things that are going to be important to do to make sure that you're coming up in a search that includes AI are going to remain the same.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. To me, the world just got a lot more complex, but it's been
Every
on
day.
a trend.
Every
right?
day.
Since we went from BC to AD, maybe, I don't know, but it's definitely gotten to my way of thinking where a small business needs a third party to assist them. I know a lot of people that have businesses and wear the 15 hats or whatever it is, want to keep that hat on. But I think things have become, I thought Google, in some sense, depending if you wanted to really optimize, was something you need a professional to help you with. And digital marketing firms have sprung up everywhere, local and otherwise.
Yeah.
So you got to sift through who's the best vendor.
You do. And my thought on that is that, there's a lot of small business owners who know exactly what they're doing in their business. But that's what they know. They don't know marketing. They don't know how to make sure that they're found and chosen. So it is important to let the professionals do what the professionals do, which is exactly why I don't fix my own, plumbing. I let the professionals do what the professionals do. And that's usually the case. Small business owners are absolutely fantastic at what they do. But they often need help making sure that people can actually find them and choose them.
Well, it's interesting because in my experiences over the years, small business people tend, not all of them, of course, they want to do it themselves, or they don't want to spend the money or whatever label you want to put on them. But I, again, personal observation, feel that the world of marketing, digital marketing, has reached a point in complexity and constant change, constant by the day, by the minute, by the hour, that if you truly want to take advantage of digital marketing and maximize your efforts, you've got to be willing to write a check, have confidence in the vendor. Yes, and I think you need to get a little education so you can communicate more effectively, because the vendor doesn't know your business.
Absolutely.
And, that's the kind of vendor I look for, is someone who's willing to learn a little bit about my business so they can spot things that maybe never came up. But no,
Yes.
when I advise a potential business owner these days, it's one of the things you got to be willing. You got to have a budget, and it's always the same story. I started a business with a partner. We each put $500 in. It's one of those good stories, that you read about. HP started in the garage.
Yes.
Well, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But what that doesn't tell you is my partner was literally a genius in the electronics field, which is the field we were going to develop products and did, and so on and so forth. But the $500 was just, nominal. Plus, he watched a dollar like it was. He was a great partner, and we made a lot of money and had a lot of fun together. So, but the point is, when I say we only put $500 in, that was simply because of the circumstance.
Yeah, and also, oftentimes people just need to remember that time is money, and if you really don't know what to do and you need help, it pays to have someone help you do what needs to be done, so that you can spend the time that you would trying to get it done actually in your business and not on your business, right? Very, very important to know also that it is not a set it and forget it. It is very important that you're involved because you know your business better than anyone. So it is a collaboration, and it's a team effort all the time.
Very, very interesting, Tami. I've enjoyed the conversation thus far. We're going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Tami and talk a little bit more about the company that she works with, Thrive, and some things that it does in its overall plan for your business beyond just digital marketing. Again, that's important. But come back and listen to the program. I think it's going to be very, very beneficial to you.
Every Friday, tune into Texas Ticket on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM with Armando Nino of Gold Lake Conroe, focusing on Montgomery County area events and places. Get a feel of the Texas spirit at the event, paired with guest and vendor interviews, event coverage, and ticket giveaways, and so much more. Join us Fridays and punch your Texas ticket. For more information on the show, visit irlonestar.com/Texas Ticket.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and I'm Rick Schisler, your host. And today we're really fortunate to have a wonderful guest. Tami Schurch is with us today. She is with Thrive, and that's spelled Thryv. You need to remember that because that's easy to remember if you go searching and trying to contact the company. So I happen to think that's a neat way to do it. We've been talking about Tami's background and the things she's done in her role with Thrive as not in a literal sense a business owner, but basically out here working, lots of support from the company. But what I'm most intrigued about, and I mentioned it in the first segment, is Thrive, the product and I guess service, in the sense that a big thing is to get good service with what you get. Tami, what does Thrive do? Your primary product, what does it really do for me as a small business owner?
Well, again, it goes back to 50% being found and 50% being chosen. We play the part of helping you be found where people are looking. So the 50% chosen part is the business owner's part. So that's in a nutshell what we do, is help small businesses be found by people who don't otherwise know who they are.
So what you're, as a prospect, I'm sitting across the table like we are now, that's going to, when I say, okay, what's in it for me? What's the advantage of me, for my business to purchase your product and do business with you?
Well, the advantage is us helping you be found by people who are searching for your product or service and don't know who to look for. So in other words, I haven't been told someone or referred to someone. I'm just simply looking for maybe you're a plumber, and I am looking for a plumbing repair company, and I don't know who to call. Where am I probably going to go? Google. And we will help you be found on Google in all 3 places, or I should even say 4 places now. There's 4 places on that page when someone does a search that you should be. And at the very top, you're going to find what's called local service ads. And those are the ones you'll see with a green check mark. They're Google certified or Google guaranteed. And then right below those, you're going to see sponsored ads, Google sponsored ads, or some people know them by cost per click or pay per click, those ads. And then right below that, you're going to find the maps section. Usually it shows 3 or 4 before you have to click on more businesses next to the maps there. That's called the 3-pack or the local pack. But that's the 3rd place. And then the 4th and final place is right below the maps, which is the organic listings, where your website will show up if it's optimized the way it should be to be found by the products and services that you want to be found by.
So that's what you would tell me now. I'm a numbers guy.
Okay.
By experience and by practice. I'm going to buy your product. How am I going to measure the success? In other words, to do a return on investment or whatever you want to call it. How do I do that? What do I measure to make sure in my mind I've gotten a return on my investment?
So everything that we do comes with analytics. When we do those ads for you at the top of Google, those calls are recorded, so you can actually listen to them. And we have analytics on again, every product that we have, pretty much. So you'll be able to see exactly what you're getting for it, and you'll be able to make sure that ROI is there.
So we'll be able to do it by the numbers.
Absolutely.
Well, that checks a box for me personally.
Absolutely.
I think it's important to be able to quantify.
You absolutely have to.
If I'm going to buy a dozen eggs, it's mainly a feeling that they were good. But in the case of a business product, I think at least major purchases, which I consider this to be, particularly where it impacts, it's directed at marketing. And it's one of the top 3 things for a successful business is to have the right marketing.
Absolutely. And analytics, because the bottom line is in the world of marketing, nothing is guaranteed. Things change so rapidly all the time. There's always competition in your market and in your industry, and they're all doing something different all the time. There's new people coming in, marketing that weren't marketing before. Things change so much that if you're not on top of it, you'll have a really hard time making sure that you are succeeding. So analytics are super, super important to make sure that we are showing you that, exactly what you're getting and what kind of an ROI that's creating for you.
Well, that's wonderful. Let me ask you just a real quick kind of a scenario thing.
Okay.
Say I'm a prospect and you turn me into a client.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of walk us through the onboarding process. So if I'm buying in, what is it that has to happen? What do I have to do as far as to get up and running with you on this?
So it really depends on what products you are purchasing with Thrive, because there is, websites, there's search engine optimization, there's lead generation. I had a brain freeze there for a second. So there's lead generation. It really just depends on what it is that you're doing with us, because it's different for each product, as well as with our software. For instance, we have our small business do-it-all, customizable to any industry software platform with a CRM. And so that onboarding process, of course, is, you get immediately assigned a client success manager. They go through everything with you, get everything connected. And you're actually assigned to that client success manager for the first 4 months. You can meet with them weekly if you'd like. Oftentimes we'll have people say, couple visits and they're good. They're off and running and starting to do everything on their own. But we hold your hand and walk you through everything. And even after that, we are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'll find someone who actually answers the Thrive support line and can help you with anything that it is that you need.
Well, I think that's probably one of the key elements, not only the ROI, but being able to reach out to somebody if you've got a question, especially for someone like me that's a little bit technology challenged when it
And of
comes
course,
to the internet.
yeah. And you're not alone. A lot of people are. But the other thing they get is they get me, and I'm always available as well. So, and I'm here local in Spring. So, there's not a lack of support by any means.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you, as a representative of Thrive, what do you bring to the table? If I am talking to you, I'm a client, what is it that you personally bring to the table?
So I bring almost 27 years of experience in marketing. Again, starting way back with the Yellow Pages. That's where I started. That's all we had. And people knew that when they were in the Yellow Pages that they were a legit business. And that's kind of the same thing when it comes to Google. Being on the first page is super, super important. We know that 90+% of people do not go to the second page. So much like the Yellow Pages was, you had to fight for your position.
Had to be an A.
And it's the same exact thing today. It just went from a physical book, which again we still have, to an online resource.
It's funny. Back in my career, I was in charge of a bunch of storage warehouses, personal storage. I don't know what mini warehouse, whatever they have a name. And we had built a number of projects, different cities, and all this kind of stuff. And one of the important things I had responsibility was to annually approve the Yellow Page advertising.
Oh.
So the size ad, we got into, it was interesting, basically by the seat of our pants and what our guts told us. And but spent thousands of dollars literally in various markets because it was our primary way of advertising.
Absolutely. It was everyone's. And speaking of that, it's kind of funny that you say that because I often talk about the fact that, I had people standing in line all the way to midnight, the deadline of the day of publication, to get into the directories. And I would have them standing in line to pay $8,000 a month for a double truck, which is a 2-page spread, because they wanted to be number one. And that's no different than what's going on today on the search engines, on Google.
Yeah.
Everybody's vying for a position. And we know that, in the right position, you're getting a lot of leads. It's no different.
Well, we had to have that AAA in our name, I remember all that nonsense or
That's
whatever.
so funny. I had so many people who would come in and say, I want to change my name to AAA or A1 or, everybody wanted to be listed at the very beginning.
Very interesting.
But, when it was a very competitive industry, there was a lot of pages of ads. And it really equates to the exact same thing that's going on Google today.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I wouldn't have not thought of that, but you're exactly right. It's a parallel.
However, people, oftentimes don't have to spend near the money today that they had to spend to be in those positions in the Yellow Pages.
Right. Well, I remember we used to think it was very expensive. Very expensive.
But the ROI was there, right?
It was there. Again, Absolutely. It was really the only besides a billboard or a sign or something, there just wasn't a lot of avenues available because you couldn't afford TV and radio, renting closets, as my uncle liked to say. So very
renting
interesting.
Closets.
Yeah,
storage.
that's what he called it. It's a closet business.
Funny. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, kind of shift gears a little bit. Current business climate. You are very active out there in the business community, attending different chamber events at different chambers, other networking and whatnot. How do you find the general business climate at the current time?
It's very robust. There's businesses starting new business every day. So there's always someone who needs to talk to someone like me. Every meeting I go to, by the time I leave, there's always someone who has pulled me aside to say, hey, we need to talk, because they recognize what their business needs.
And when you do that, and this is an impression I've gotten in our conversation today, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, when I look at all the product services that are available through Thrive, you are talking primarily about the digital marketing, but there really is so much else that apparently it must be that the digital marketing is the AAA in the yellow pages of what brings people to you. But I'm amazed. I mean, it's just an overall business software.
Absolutely.
Kind of like these management softwares I keep hearing about.
So absolutely. Our software platform is designed to both help a small business manage and grow their business. We are in the business of helping businesses grow. Our Business Center software is a complete CRM with marketing tools that really include all of the things that I spoke about earlier that help you to be a successful business in the way of being chosen, right? So the Business Center gives you the tools to basically streamline your day-to-day processes, save you a lot of time in your week so that you can, again, be working in your business and not on it as often. So, yeah. And then, of course, our Marketing Center is really designed more to help a business grow. It's going to give you the listings that you need. Again, some of those tools that we talked about earlier to be successful. And then it's going to give you some enhanced profiles on Yelp, yellowpages.com, Yahoo, and Nextdoor. So that's like having a little bit better than a business listing. You know, you get priority placement on them. And those are, places that people are using a lot today too as well. I personally love to talk about Nextdoor because everybody in my neighborhood uses it. So very important to have those enhanced profiles. And that's what the Marketing Center helps with.
Now, I will assume the Marketing Center product is the most popular.
Absolutely.
So that's again, when we have our conversation, we talk all about it, but you've got these other areas, the Command Center, and then you've got the Business Center to help you run your business, and package of products that I guess integrate and everything works together.
It is. It's all to create that foundation, that digital footprint. You can't build the house if you don't have the foundation, right?
Absolutely true.
To begin with, yeah.
Always my biggest concern. We built a house, and it was really the foundation, because I'd seen it time again in commercial building I was involved in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take one final short break here. And when we come back, we'll kind of wind things up. And again, can't thank you enough, Tami, for being with us and talking about the business world, particularly digital marketing. I mean, there are a lot of folks out there claiming they can do it. And there's a lot of opportunities to listen to people explain it. But I think it's hard to find somebody who's really good at it. And that's been my impression and my experience. So I think you're one of the good guys as far as understanding what you're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us. We've got a few minutes left, and we'll kind of wrap it up with Tami and perhaps get a comment or two to our question of the week. So please stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Car enthusiasts of Conroe, FM 104.5 and 106.1 Lone Star Community Radio invites you to shift into gear every Monday from 1 to 2 with Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy for news on all things automotive in the greater Houston-Conroe area. Can't make a live show? We've got you covered. You can find all of our uncut content, including full episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Play Store, YouTube, Facebook, and irlonestar.com. Again, that's Mondays 1 to 2, Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy. See you there.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour. Hope you've enjoyed the conversation we've had today with Tami Schurch and about Thrive and some general business principles. My favorite being return on investment and as applied to their particular product and offerings. Tami, as we wrap up today, this is a general question I try to ask everybody if there's enough time. What is your secret to balancing your life between, say, family, personal time, and business? Because if you're out there going to all those chamber events, and I know how that is, 7:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, it requires more than just an 8-hour day many times. How do you balance things? Everybody's looking for an answer to that question.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, that's fair enough.
But there is balance there, and a lot of times the meetings that I go to are during the day, which is great. There's some after hours sometimes, which are great too. But it's not too much of a balancing act. One thing I really love about Thrive is that the work-life balance is amazing with them. We're all like a big family, and they really do care about that. So it's very important to me and to them that we all have a good work-life balance.
Right.
I know one of the things I wanted to mention too, when we were talking about the Business Center, Marketing Center, Command Center, is that we've recently acquired Keep. That's KEAP, which allows our users to now have fully automated marketing, sales, and nurturing ability. So I'm super excited about that. And we also are just now rolling out a new center called Workforce Center. And that is a payroll option for our users.
Right.
So super excited about that as well.
Well, obviously your company's growing, it's expanding.
Always.
It's funny, I hadn't heard payroll services in a long, long time, but I do have clients, or have had clients too, that use payroll services. And
Sure.
There's no doubt about it. It can be cost effective, maybe not on a direct ROI, but what the services they do provide for you. So
I think the ROI there is just time saved.
Yeah.
You being able to actually do what creates revenue.
And hopefully accuracy.
Absolutely. Definitely.
I know I've done payroll myself.
It's not easy.
And you make one little mistake. I have a client that for the second time in 12 months, he was late by a day of sending his tax report in. Just forgot about it. He's busy. He works, runs a great business. I mean, his business, but he forgot and had to pay a, $100 penalty. When we did a weekly review, he brought that up. I said, "Oh no, not again."
Right.
But I mean, this all gets taken care of for it,
Absolutely. It's worth it.
So it makes sense.
Absolutely.
People want to get in touch with you. What's the easiest way for them to do that?
Well, they can call me at 928-963-9928. They can email me at Tami, Tami, Schurch, and that's SCHURCH at Thrive, THRYV.com. They can also look me up on Google by my name. I have a business Facebook page, a business Instagram page, a business LinkedIn page. I'm everywhere. But my website, I have a personal website as well for Thrive. So you can kind of look me up anywhere. My reviews are out there. I would love to work with anyone who is just looking for some help being found.
Well, I would say this to our listeners. I think it's worth checking out. And if it wasn't, as you know, I would be upfront about it. Maybe after the guest left, right? But, I would check this product out. I think it's got a lot of insight, and it also provides a wide variety of services and product that you may want to integrate the whole thing. You may not. You may only want to deal with the marketing. And again, I said it earlier, third party or outsourcing your marketing, which again today is mostly digital marketing, is something that I believe every small business needs to consider. And I also feel strongly that they should do it. The only exception would be someone who sells digital marketing. So there are always exceptions. It's never 100%. But I encourage you to consider that. Tami, thank you so much for joining us today and spending the time. It's been fun. Any final comments for our listeners?
I would just like to thank you for taking the time to talk to me today and allow us to share with the community how we may be able to help them. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 3 minutes left. And one thing, in recent shows, I haven't really had much time to talk with you. We've had these great conversations, and we don't put a time limit on those other than the close of the show. But I have something that I have been keeping, and I really want to kind of review it. It's something that is there. It's there every day. Most of you will have experienced at least 2 or 3 or more of these challenges, but I want to take a minute and kind of go through them with you and perhaps talk about solutions. I've got a list of 12, which is way too long with the time we have, but several of them are pretty straightforward. And as we say, duh, right? You're going to get it right. But these are the biggest obstacles today, in my opinion, that are faced by small business. Okay, to be successful, you are challenged. And there's some things that are inherent in the world day to day. They don't just pick on you. They're out there. They need to be considered and make sure you've covered your bases so they don't come up and bite your business. The first one is client dependency. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. The fact that you have too many eggs in one basket and the client leaves, or the client has financial trouble and doesn't pay on time. You would think everybody knows that, right? Well, that's not true. Again, just don't put too many eggs in one basket, because I still talk to people who have been in business for a period of years that hang on to that one client because they feel that they're indispensable. And boy, when it bites you hard. And if I had time, I'd share a story with you of an actual business owner who I knew, and that happened to him in a big way. And he was able to survive by the skin of his teeth if you talk to him. Money management. That's another area that there's a certain weakness. Part of that is because of the digital world, because we don't have relationships with bankers. And if we do, it's a Zoom meeting, or it's a phone call, or it's a text. And we don't build those relationships, which can help us in the money management area, because banks typically have services available that we just don't even connect with. It's in a brochure along with 50 other services. But again, as those who know me, I encourage taking the time to try to build a relationship with your banker. Whether you're borrowing money or not, you need somebody to talk to. And yes, there's a lot of turnover in some particular banks, but I would make the effort. The third thing I think real important, and that's what's called fatigue. If you don't suffer from fatigue now, you will later. At some point, we just get tired, and mentally and or physically. And that's why it's important, as we talk with Tami about work-life balance, the ability to manage your workload, and most importantly, the stress. I'm at a point in life where I have a very loose schedule, and I take a 20, 30-minute nap if I can in the afternoon. And my wife makes fun of me. And what are you doing? I said, well, I'm just relieving the stress. And then somebody published a study, by the way, that said you reduce your chance of a heart attack by 40-some% just by taking a 15, 20-minute nap every day. It's not about the sleep or that. It's just letting your body. So now I tell her, I'm just trying to prevent a heart attack. Anyway, and last but not least, very true of those for us that have founded and started businesses, which was my background, even though we did buy, I guess, 2 or 3 businesses along the way and try to remake them. And that's dependency on the founders of the business. If you're relying too much on your own and something happens to you, or you want to take some extra time off. Can your business run itself successfully in your absence, whether it be planned or not planned? And in my experience and seeing what can happen, it's not necessarily true, but the fix to it, to make it happen so the business runs without you for a certain amount of time, is not a lot of work, maybe a certain cost with attorneys and whatnot, and training people to do certain jobs in your absence. But it is well worth the investment, because if you go down, the business should not go down. It just shouldn't happen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our program for today. Again, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Hope you enjoyed conversation with Tami Schurch and the products she reps, Thrive. I encourage you, put a note on your calendar for next week, 11 o'clock. The Lone Star Community Radio, the weekly business hour, will be back. And again, look for a video podcast of the show, the weekly business hour page on the station's website, irlonestar.com, Facebook, YouTube, and all the other primary social media sites. We have a page for the weekly business hour. And as I try to tell you every week, and I say try, I don't think some people really get what I'm saying, but until next week, stay engaged and always keep your focus on what counts in your business. Don't get carried away with what's happening in the rest of the world. It's what's important is what is happening in your business, subject to the impact of the rest of the world. Anyway, take care, my friends, and we'll see you next week at 11 o'clock.